Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Jurassic World Dino Trackers Wild Roar Kronosaurus. So this is a brand new marine reptile introduced into the Jurassic Park and also Mattel toy line. And I am really excited to take a look at this one because Kronosaurus is a favorite marine reptile of mine. And also, who doesn't like marine reptiles? So I'm always going to be excited whenever we get a new marine reptile introduced into the Mattel line. So here at the packaging here, you got your standard Dino Trackers packaging with the blue and beta in the corner, the Dino Trackers logo, the different titles all over the place. And then also on the packaging, you got the nice, water environment to say this is a water animal, which is really nice. And this is another animal I've been trying to review for a while now. I've had it for a little while, and now I'm finally getting a chance to review it. And as you can see, there's the Jurassic World logos on both sides of the packaging, including the Dino Trackers logo. Here at the back, you got a cool little action shot of the figure. It says levels of aggression, like all the other toys of this wave have, or this line. Action gimmick for the animal. It says it makes sounds. The others in the wave, which I already have and done reviews on. So yeah, that's basically it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and take out this animal. And here is our Kronosaurus out of the box, and this is such an incredible figure. I am beyond impressed with this one. The amount of detail that is on this figure right here is amazing, and it's one of Mattel's best, I think, because there's so much detail in the sculpt that Mattel has put in, and it's actually it's really cool to look at. Like, I've held this thing for like a couple of minutes after opening it, and I just couldn't take my eyes off of the amount of detail that is shown on this figure. But overall, the main look at the figure, it looks really nice. It's another awesome looking marine reptile. The entire form or design right here is actually really cool looking. It matches like your generic marine reptile looking design, and it's fairly accurate, I would say, to the real animal, but also just a pliosaur in general, especially with the cool new addition of the tail fluke right here. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the detail because there is a lot to go over. So taking a look at the head right here, it's your pretty standard classic pliosaur or marine reptile type of head going on here, and it's really cool looking. You can definitely see the little indentations of the skull here and there peeking out, which isn't 100% accurate, but it is cool because it is a Jurassic Park animal. They're not meant to be fully accurate anyway, but really nice head sculpt. It matches a Kronosaurus fairly well. I don't think it's entirely accurate in terms of the way the skull is shaped, and I'll kind of compare it with another Kronosaurus figure I have in my collection later on. But as of right now, it looks really nice. The entire sculpt work is nice as well. Like I keep saying. And then here we got the nostril right here, which is surprisingly here on the side of the skull instead of like up top, which is how I was always told, or based on the pictures I've always seen. The nostrils are always like on the top of the head here, and I guess it's not. You can see a little bit of like the bones or muscles underneath the skin poking out here, depending on where the shadows hit. And then the teeth are nicely done as well. They interlocked perfectly, which is pretty cool. Another key characteristic of a marine reptile or a pliosaur in general. But the teeth are nicely sculpted and nice and skinny too. They're not too fat or cartoony. They look nice, and you got a nice row of smaller teeth here at the bottom with some larger ones right here, which interlocked perfectly. Here at the inside of the mouth, you got some nice sculpt work, some line sculpt work on the tongue here, but it's very smooth and very like it's smooth, and with the glossy paint, it looks like it's actually wet from all the saliva in the mouth and stuff. It was really nice. The gum flaps right here are nicely sculpted. Here at the top of the mouth is nicely sculpted as well, with all those nice line texturing like on the inside of a lot of animals' mouths, which is really nice. You even got some on the back right there behind the tongue, which is really nice. One thing that I know for sure is not accurate to Kronosaurus in real life is the second row of teeth here at the underneath the top side of the jaw right here, the upper jaw right here. And this is a key characteristic of mosasaurs. So like Mosasaurus and Tylosaurus and all those. Pliosaurs did not have them, so like you know, Liopleurodon and Kronosaurus that Mattel's did, they gave it the second row of teeth on the top here, which I'm not sure if they got Mosasaurus and Pliosaurus confused or not, or they just thought, you know, since the Mosasaurus had it, they all had it. But I mean, it is cool. I like the little feature right here. I mean, I guess you could say this is a genetic modification they added to a Kronosaurus, but in terms of scientific accuracy, this is not very true to the fossil record, as these guys did not have any of these, but it is nicely sculpted. They aren't painted, but you can feel them and you can see them very well. Here at the neck, you got a lot of nice wrinkles. You can just see like how bulky and fat this thing is. Kind of like what you'd see like in large walruses or seals or maybe even whales. Just like all that fat and muscle that's just attached to them. And you can kind of get the good feeling of that when you see all these little wrinkles and folds in the skin, which is really nice, with a few bit of scales here and there. Here at the body, you got a nice detailed body right here. Can't speak today. And you can see here you got a lot of nice little line texturing going through the underside with a lot of nice finer scale detail, which you can see right here, and it's actually really nice. It's applied more sharp here at where the battery compartment is, and a lot more smoother everywhere else, but you can see it. It's really nice, and you don't really see a whole lot of that here at the body. You can see a lot more of the scales right here, which is really cool, and a lot of folds in the skin. You can see a lot of the muscle definition peeking out throughout the body here. So here's like where like the shoulder blade area would be, and you got this part up here, which is really nice. Pretty standard for a marine reptile. Moving on to the tail fluke right here, very detailed overall. Nice finer scale work on the underside of it, whereas the upper portion right here is just more of the rough texturing. And then here on the flippers, you got a nice texture on the flippers and some nice finer scales here and there, especially on the bottom. You got a lot of nice scales just showing up on there. Same with here on the back side of the flipper, you can see a whole lot of those scales, which look really nice. Here on the jaw, you get a lot of nice scale work going on the jaw right there, which is really nice, really nicely done. And weird to notice that you don't see a lot of those scales in the head. The entire head itself is like shiny or like metallic. It has like that shiny, wet look to it, which is good for a water animal. But it's very interesting. It even feels smooth too, so that's really cool and very interesting at the same time. But in terms of detail, it does not end there. Notice how the entire portion of the animal is covered in barnacles. This thing is just covered in them. Even here on the side of the jaw right here, and all over the top of the head. This thing is just covered in barnacles all over the place. That is really cool. That is a nice attention to detail right there. It's even on both sides of the flippers as well. Really cool. It's actually not present on the underside of the animal most of the time, except for actually no, not even on the underside of the jaw, but everywhere else is just covered in barnacles, which is really cool. Matches modern day animals like whales. Sometimes they have a bunch of barnacles that are stuck to them, so this thing definitely gives off a marine type feeling to it, and that's really cool. Mattel did an amazing job with the amount of detail, with just the individual barnacles sculpted all over this thing. And not to mention they have a few scars or scratch marks sculpted in as well. So here on the neck and here above the flipper right here, big one here at the body. I'm not sure if those ones are scars or not, or if that's just part of the plastic, but really cool how they applied a lot of these scars. See, you got a big one right there, one right there. You know, if I could paint all these scars on a lot of these dinosaurs or other animals that Mattel has made, I think they're gonna pop really well with just the amount of scarring that is present. Articulation, it's much like the Liopleurodon, but the flippers and the joints on this figure are a lot more smoother and easy to manipulate than the Liopleurodon, but the flippers can move up and down, and they can rotate all the way around, so you get some nice movements. And then they can also, oh, I think I already did that, but yeah, they can move forward and backward as well. Same goes with the black, the back flippers here. You move forward and backwards or side to side. All nice. And then here at the tail, it can also move, but no one really cares about that. And then here we got the scan code up there. And that's basically it for articulation. There's not a whole lot. Everything else is tied with the action feature with this cool wild roar new gimmick that they have here. So we'll go ahead and test out the feature as well as the sounds. So let's get on it. Alright, so as you can see, if you just take this and kind of move it from side to side, it's kind of hard to move in certain angles, but it gets the job done. You just move from side to side, makes the head move or rotate from side to side, and it makes the jaw open. Really cool feature. And the sounds, I can't even tell how many sounds there are in these figures, but I do know there are quite a bit. And the sounds kind of change depending on how you use the button. So if you use it lightly, you make the head turn lightly, it has like softer or smaller sounds. But if you move it all the way to each side and it opens its mouth wider, it produces louder roars, which is really cool. It kind of gives off more of the realistic movements with some of these animals. And the sounds overall are pretty nice. They're like standard, you know, I guess they work for an aquatic marine animal with like lower bellows and just grumbling sounds, much like the Liopleurodon. I did hear a few herbivore sounds from dinosaurs like the Parasaurolophus or Triceratops. Like they have like that signature Jurassic Park sound. I don't know why they added that into a marine reptile, but I guess if you kind of think about it, you know, if you don't pay attention to the sounds like I do, I mean, I pay attention to them, but if you didn't really care, then I could see them, you know, acting like, hey, that's probably like what a marine reptile would have sounded like. Just some large aquatic animal rumbling sounds. So yeah, very interesting on the sounds, but they get the job done. And yeah, and the colors, I totally forgot to talk about the colors. The colors are really nice. They definitely remind me of the Walking with Dinosaurs Liopleurodon, with the whole darker colors, with the lighter colors and stuff. But the colors are really nice. You got like a nice like navy dark blue for the upper half of the body, and as well as the flippers, and you got a lighter cream color for the underbelly, which also stripes onto the flippers, which makes it have a good contrast, especially with the whole counter shading thing that a lot of aquatic or marine animals have to help blend into their environments. They're dark on top and light on the bottom, which is really interesting. They didn't apply any of that white color on the bottom, but that's okay. At least they applied it here at the top portion. And then they have a really nice turquoise metallic color around the eye area here, which is actually really nice and complements the colors very well, especially with that bright yellow eyeball. The teeth are nicely painted with like a lighter beige color, different than the underbelly, and the entire inside of the mouth is like that red fleshy color, which works perfect, I would think. So the entire color on this marine reptile is spot on and it is perfect. So yeah, I am very happy with this figure overall. So for comparisons, here we have the Kronosaurus compared next to a human figure. So here we have a generic mercenary, and overall the size is okay for, I guess, a generic marine reptile. But if you're talking about a Kronosaurus, those animals were pretty big compared to a human, and I know for sure they were much bigger than a Liopleurodon. And in this scale for these toys from Mattel, they're both the exact same size, which is not entirely accurate. The Kronosaurus was, in fact, a bigger animal than Liopleurodon, so this guy should have been in the gigantic trackers size range, in my opinion. At least that's how I see it anyways. And but just overall, looking at the human here, I mean, they work really nicely. This could be just a juvenile Kronosaurus compared to a human or a subadult or something. So if you're counting that, then I guess this scale works pretty nicely. Next up, we have the Kronosaurus compared with a Plesiosaurus, and I think they scale pretty nicely as well. Like I said, not entirely accurate because Kronosaurus would have been a bit larger. But like I said, if it were a juvenile, this works pretty perfect in my opinion. And finally, here we have the Kronosaurus compared with the Mattel Liopleurodon. And yeah, they look really nice together because I like to see how different each one is in terms of just design and sculpt, but also just anatomy in general. They look really nice when compared to each other, but also the size is not entirely accurate. These two are roughly the exact same size. I mean, the flippers on the Liopleurodon are a bit longer and larger than the Kronosauruses, but overall, I think the scale for these two actually work pretty cool when you're just comparing them, but in terms of accuracy, not really. But it is cool to really compare both of these because they got unique different head sculpts and just anatomies in general, but they all look really cool. So yeah, I really do like these two together, and I think they complement each other very well. You can kind of see just how similar and different these two species are, especially in terms of just skull shape. And this one is definitely more of a hefty figure. It seems a lot more bulky and buff and just muscular. This one just seems more thin and just more built for speed than this one. This one seems it's built for literally destroying anything, which is really cool. But yeah, these two look really nice together, and they both, like I said, have the whole teeth on the upper portion of the jaw right there. But you know, overall, other than size and scale, these two do look really nice. So everyone, that's about to wrap it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For my final thoughts of this figure, it is an incredible figure. The overall sculpt work on this animal is just amazing. Mattel did an excellent job with the amount of sculpt work they put on this, especially with all those different barnacles that are just covering the entire body. But in the colors, I really do love the colors, and the action feature is pretty nice. It's fun, it's playable. But yeah, I really do enjoy this figure and highly recommend it. So that's pretty much all I have to say for this review, everyone. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.